Now, so
all right, here we are. Rusty's got to do a whole lot of type stuff to make sure our users are paying attention to what we're doing and retweeting and all the fun stuff on the Twitter and everywhere else. And if you're subscribed to our YouTube channel, you're getting a push notification on your phone suggesting that we are in fact live. Shortly. Or maybe your Google account is receiving an email. But with us today is Kevin Teal from Pocono Raceway. We're really excited to talk to him. And I don't know. Kevin, you don't need to introduce yourself yet because we're not really on the podcast yet. But how's your week been? You excited about Charlotte?
Yeah, it's gonna be a good race. I'm always excited for the Coke 600 and Indy 500, Monaco. It's all the same day. It's like the greatest weekend in racing, right?
Oh, yeah.
That's what they always say.
It's the biggest weekend in motorsports.
I try to coach myself into getting up in time to watch all three, and usually what happens is the first half. Actually, you know what? I'll save this for the podcast because we're probably going to talk about the big three at some point.
Yeah,
I have a segment in there.
I have it in our.
I saw you over there.
Yeah, there's a little rinky-dink little.
What you got there?
Yeah. That's we kind of got after it a few weeks ago, but.
Oh yeah. What is
I needed something a little
whiskey?
sweet.
Oh,
yeah.
is it like root beer?
Yeah. I needed something
because this stuff
sweet
is really
in there.
dry.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's awesome. All right, sorry, we're geeking out over booze over here.
Here, let me. I'll put the rest of that in here.
Oh, I almost took it all. Sorry.
No, you're good. It's fine. There we go. A little sarsaparilla. Commercial-free Monaco Grand Prix. Hell yeah! I mean, that's
holy shit.
They've got it going on. I can't speak French. You can.
Oh, I can, but I can't see what's being said.
Roger said, "Allo mes amies." I don't know.
Oh, it's alors mes amis.
That's probably
allo mes amis. Hello, my
like
friends.
That. Okay.
Hello,
well, I mean, so
darkness,
I
my old
can
friend.
do the Spanish part, but I can't do French. Is like, all right, just pronounce half these letters, and
it's damn sure pronounce half the letters. It's almost as bad as Old English,
right? Yeah,
like Beowulf. All right. Was there anything else we needed to get out before we actually start doing the audio?
I don't think so. I was just kind of waiting on folks to join and say hey and whatnot. Brandon, Carl, Roger, Mick Rose is here. Mick,
so we need to get everybody. Tell everybody to. I tell everybody like they can't hear me. Tell everybody to retweet the YouTube link. Yay!
We got a little thunder rolls over here
do.
in Atlanta. Did you look at the forecast, Sherwin? It's supposed to rain every day for 2 weeks. It's bullspit is what it is.
I've been instructed not to bring rain with me to Michigan, but I don't even think I can live up to that
There's
deal.
no telling. What's it like in Pocono right now?
Dude, I'll be honest with you guys. It's been a beautiful week.
Good.
This whole entire week.
At least somebody gets some.
Yeah, right. It's been honestly awesome up here. It's been absolutely beautiful. That's kind of what we're trying to stress to people too, because it was a terrible winter up here. I'll be completely honest. I mean, it was. There was snow on the track till April, but it's turned around and it's looking a lot better now for sure.
Roger said it's raining in Charlotte currently. We're if you didn't know, Kevin, we are the masters of bringing rain to tracks. We brought rain to Phoenix. We brought rain to Atlanta. We brought rain to Bristol.
Oh, that means the ARCA race has been suspended.
Oh,
they're running. Supposed to be running right now.
Oh yeah. So we did not give Mother Nature enough time.
You guys are coming to Pocono, right?
We are not.
we have a discussion about that's going to come up.
Yeah, we do.
I'd love to meet you guys, but
yeah.
Now that you said that, I don't know if I want to invite you up.
Well, here's the thing. What we have to do was so we decided to go to Talladega like 5 days before Talladega, and so what we figured was, well, we just got to make sure Mother Nature doesn't have enough time to produce like the systems that will make rain. So that's what we got to do from now on.
Well, Mick Rose always makes a good point about going to the Chili Bowl because they got a roof.
True. Love it. All right. Are we ready to get started?
I think so.
I think so too. Kevin, you ready?
I'm ready. I'm tweeting it out right now.
Booyah. Let's do this. When I say now, then we are recording. And then I'll get started, and like I said, you won't hear the intro song probably, but you will hear us probably hooting and hollering, screaming, yelling, all that. So
sounds good.
We turn very charismatic once this thing starts. Beforehand, I'm just a nerd and I don't know what I'm doing. So
right, there's something about being live that like switches on.
You know what it is? I think my hands start playing. Once my hands start going, now I'm doing the thing. So, all right, here we go. We are recording now. Welcome, y'all! Oh, that was a little tame there, Sherwin. Either way, this is the Pregame Engineer Tailgate Mayor Racing Podcast, episode number 148. Today is Thursday, May 24th, 2018. I'm Tailgate Mayor Rusty Wallace. I'm in the PTM Podcast studio with Pregame Engineer Andrew Sherwin. What's up, dude?
I promised myself that I would come up with a throwback to go with you kicking it over to me. And you know what? I came up with one, and I didn't study on it.
148 fails in a row.
148 fails in a row.
149 will root for it.
Yeah, so I'll get it right one day.
Before we go further, this podcast is sponsored by you. That's right. You go to patreon.com/PTM. Join that What You Drink Club for as little as $1 a month to get that free koozie. And the best part is, every cent in 2018, we're donating to sponsored drivers to join the PTM Policy today and be a part of the sport you love. I'm already out of breath. I don't know why, so this is going to be terrible. This week's show is brought to you by our official sponsors at the $5 and up per month level. As we're getting huge thunderclaps outside. Here goes, a little bit different order here, so y'all pay attention. Here goes David Patterson, Laura Henshaw, Harry Bolzania, Mick Rose, Aaron Bearden, Robert Keplinger, Tony Salt, Kobe McClam, Eric Kepner, Ryan Kiefer, Marilyn Best, Patrick Cleary, Jeff Brown, Brandon Crowd, Kathleen McDonald, Stacey Wright, Brandon Carl, Billy Workman, Rika Porter, Jumpy Bob, Les Miller, Jason Rudd, Tommy Witt, Mark Wiley, and Julie Bosley.
Hey, yo.
How about that?
That's a long list.
Woo, it's a beautiful list,
a good
too.
list.
I love y'all. Love y'all.
Longer the better.
Yep. And Sydney Lett in the background doing it, too. I mean, that's really – the only reason I can do that is because Sydney Lett's back there just cheering me on, you know?
Oh, for sure. Bottom just fell out.
So I know. I hope our whatever it is, all our electricity and stuff stays on. I'm at a loss for words.
That would be nuts.
I'm at a loss for words. I uncharacteristically for me went to happy hour today, so this should be fun.
And very characteristically for me, I definitely
went to happy hour.
I went all by myself. I stayed at home.
So this is a ish show either way. So to help us get through this, we've got on the line a very special guest. He's the manager of content for the Tricky Triangle at Pocono Raceway, Kutztown University alum, and sporting a kick-ass beard. Follow him on Twitter at Kevin_Teal, Teel. It is Kevin Teal. Kevin, what's up, buddy?
What's going on, guys? Sorry, my Hall of Fame display kind of just fell right there on that intro.
I heard a little crash and bang back there.
A lot of stuff going on. He was, if y'all heard in the intro, I think you were typing while the intro song was going too. It was a nice background noise.
Sorry, guys. I was tweeting it out, trying to get more people to watch.
Absolutely.
I'm digging it. Kevin, we start the show off the same way every time. Before we even know who in the hell you are, they got to know what you're drinking. So what you got in the glass tonight?
All right, so here's the deal. I knew that this was a part of the podcast, and I am drinking an ice-cold Coca-Cola since we are at Coca-Cola track. Coca-Cola 600 this weekend, so we'll crack that open.
My man, and bonus, you're talking to two guys in Atlanta, Georgia, home of Coca-Cola. So, hey, look here. Well, you can't look, but everybody else can see it.
Fourth wall.
Yeah, fourth wall. There's Coca-Cola and Coke Zero right there. We got it on deck, but we mix that a little bit. Sherwin, what's going on?
Oh, yeah. Well, we didn't use Coke this time, though, did we?
True. We used LaCroix or LaCroix.
Our standard Jim Beam white label, a plastic fifth. Can't go wrong with this because you can't break it. And some grapefruit LaCroix.
Yep.
The seltzer flavored seltzer water, which is actually quite fun, nice. Yep. There's no calories, got a little flavor to it.
Right.
So when you get a little older like us, you got to start watching out for all that sugar.
Right. Yeah. So. Did you brought a beer too? Beer or seven?
I got leftover North Carolina beer. We are racing in North Carolina.
Racing
we like
in
to
Charlotte. What's
have
the deal?
A location
That's
specific.
More Wicked
I
Weed.
went to Wicked Weed for the second time this past 2 weekends ago.
Yep.
Before the Lake weekend. I recommend Wicked Weed to anybody. They have a great portfolio of beers, and they have a nice little nice little tap room with a delicious hamburger.
It's our new go-to place, y'all. I mean, it was Asheville Brewing for a long time. On our way to Bristol.
Like 4 or 5 years?
Yeah, 4 or 5 years in a row. We went there for fall and spring, and finally decided let's try something new. And y'all, we are hooked on the Wicked Weed. At this point, we've done it one time in a row now. But
one time in a row.
It's
when I made a second visit, I bought a hat. I tweet their stuff out. They're cool.
Mm-hmm.
And I see Mr. Pocono himself, Deputy Robert Hines, has joined the YouTube feed.
Good deal.
Welcome,
Good
Rob.
deal.
Good to see you, buddy.
He's right up there. So we've ignored our very esteemed guests for long enough. Kevin, let's start with this. Introduce yourself to what we call the PTM Posse here, and tell them what's up and what you're up to.
Yeah, so like you guys said, I'm the manager of content here at Pocono Raceway. I've been here for since 2013. Actually, I interned. I think one of you guys mentioned in the beginning there that I went to Kutztown University. So thanks for shouting them out too.
You know what? I saw that on your Twitter.
2013. What was that?
I saw that on your Twitter, and I was like, I'm not sure that I've heard of that before, so I have to say.
I wouldn't expect you to. It's a smaller state school up here in Pennsylvania, but yeah. So I've kind of been here since the start of my career. Really, I started in the ticket office for 4 years. Cool. And then in October, I moved over to this role, and now I kind of do all the social media stuff and on this side of the card. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool for sure.
So do you run like the Pocono Raceway Twitter account?
Yes, sir. I mean, 9 times out of 10, if you see a tweet, it's coming from me. Either that or so we have a kind of a content team that we've built here.
Okay.
Between JJ LaRose, who's the manager of content promotions, and our boss Kevin Heaney, who is the director of content and communications. So up until this point, he's kind of run the social media and stuff like that, and he's kind of moved up the ladder here a little bit to kind of take on more of the communications role, and we're kind of under him, holding down the fort and sending out the tweets, man. Well,
so we very much appreciate you coming on in what must be the super busy season going on right now with the Pocono 400 coming up in just over a week from now. What are you doing right now to prepare, and what's going on at the track?
Man, just about everything. You know, it's coming up. It's coming up faster than you expect. It's always funny about this first race for us. It always comes up faster, even though we've been planning since the last race, right?
Yeah.
This one always seems to just sneaks up on you, but we're getting stuff ready. You know, we're getting plans in place, and the cool thing with my new role, like I said, I was in the ticket office for the last couple of years that I've worked here. So it's kind of a new role for me. So I don't know what to expect, almost in a sense, in this kind of content social media role. So it's kind of fun. It's the first time I felt like this kind of in the last couple of years. But yeah, things are moving. Billboards getting put up, signage is getting put up, everything's getting cleaned up. We're getting ready to go, man. It's busy time for sure.
Sure, and it sounds like me at work. I don't know what I'm doing, but I know I should be doing something other than playing solitaire.
Yeah. What am I doing here?
Yeah, exactly. So, one thing I wanted to touch on, which is I think one of the cool behind the scenes things that goes on is Pocono, objectively, I was saying in the pre-show, has the quickest turnaround in NASCAR. So you're racing in a week from now, and then in like 7 weeks after that, there's another race at Pocono. And I'm wondering what that downtime looks like. Is there some breathing room there, or is it straight into just, repainting, starting to, put new door boards up and everything else? I'd love to walk through that a little bit.
Yeah, so I mean, it's kind of right into it, man. We were just talking about it. I was down in Kevin Heaney's office. I didn't leave work today until 6:30. I went home, kind of ate dinner, and then I came back here. I decided to do it here in the office for this podcast. But we were just talking that once our race is kind of over and we're in the media center there, it's take things down off the website and just get ready for the Gander Outdoors 400, which is, like you said, only a few weeks in between there. So normally right after race day happens, we'll take a little bit of breather, maybe play around a golf or two. But then it's right back into it, man, and it comes fast for sure. The summer's fast, and it's weird. we have the 2 NASCAR races in June and July, and then our IndyCar race. So it's like we go from one event to the next event to the next event, and then it's all over. But it's a lot of fun. It's a heavy hitting summer. There's a lot to do in a short amount of time, but we have fun with it for sure.
Now you said you so you went to Kutztown there, and did you grow up in the area as well?
No, I actually grew up. I grew up in Southeast PA. I actually went to. I always went to Dover Speedway for growing up. I started going to races when I was 9 years old. I became a big fan of this guy who got inducted into the Hall of Fame yesterday, Jeff Gordon, and kind of just been connected to the sport ever since. And then when I went to school for sports management, so I knew I kind of wanted to work in this industry. I really wanted to do something there, and luckily got connected with Pocono, and loved being here ever since. Man, I wouldn't change anything to not be working here for sure.
So y'all started doing something I think that's pretty unique in tracks, and that is there is a Pocono Raceway podcast itself, and you're involved in that. Tell us what that is and how the podcasting career has been kicked off.
Yes, so we kind of started this year. It was kind of I think it was a brainchild actually of our senior director of communications at Ryan Yanuszak, who unfortunately he passed away in December.
Oh, bummer.
But he actually I know he brought up the idea of doing this podcast, and we've always talked about it, and then we got the opportunity with ESPN 840, who's a local radio station up here, to kind of work with them on doing this podcast, and we decided to put the green light on it. And I remember the first couple episodes we set on it. We have no idea what we're doing, and we're just trying to kind of to grow in that, because I mean podcasting is huge right now. I mean, you guys know it. There's so many different podcasts in racing right now, and I'd say, every different podcast has a different feel to it, and, some people might not like one, but some people like the other, and we didn't know if anybody would like ours, but we got really good feedback with it, and we've been having fun with it. We've gotten some pretty cool talent on there. Our first driver was Jimmy Johnson on the podcast, so that was a win in itself.
Boom.
So,
no doubt.
Yeah.
I think that's what got my attention. And like I said, I think I told this in the pre-show. I don't know if we were even live on the YouTube yet, but I'm an idiot savant at finding more racing podcasts to give a shot, to listen to. And mostly because I have a ton of time to fill, because I work from home. I live by myself. Like, I have a lot of time to fill, and I have nobody there to tell me no. So I listen to a lot of different things, and especially racing. It's either racing or comedy. That's what it is. And I found your stuff and started listening. I was like, man, this is really cool. I wonder if these guys would be interested in doing what we do, because one of the things I noticed about your style of show is that it's fairly similar to what we do. It's like you're not asking – I mean, as much as I love the 12 Questions podcast by Jeff Gluck,
which I love.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
He's doing a very journalistic approach to doing a podcast. And we're like, no, we're just fans. We want to goof off. We're going to try to make – the guest host laugh as much as we can just by us being silly, and hopefully along the way the people that are watching or listening or will listen down the road will have the same experience. So that's the experience I got from you, and I'm like, all right, I got to figure out how to get these guys on, because it feels like the room feels very similar to what Rusty and I are doing, except for that we're doing it about half in the bag.
Yeah.
And you guys are at work. But other than that.
Yeah. With a bunch of drinks sitting around us. There's a veritable bar here right now.
There's definitely a bar right in
every
front of
Thursday night.
There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
Kevin, so Pocono, me and Sherwin talk all the time about our bucket list. About our bucket list tracks. And we rank them. And then, you know what? I think we deserve a little props. We execute.
We rank them in order of desire, and then we rank them in order of ability to execute.
Yep. And then we execute. We pull the trigger. We go to the places. And so Pocono has crept right up our list for quite a while. Convince us. or rather, being a bucket list kind of track, what makes that?
Don't convince us, because we're coming.
Yeah.
Tell us what we should do to have the best experience.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, so I mean, you guys mentioned earlier. I don't know if we were live yet there, but you guys said you bring rain to the track. So I don't know if I want to. I don't know if I want to invite you anyway. But no, it's
PTM curse.
That's fair. It's very fair. Hashtag blame PTM.
Yep. we were like a very small meme that was around. Yeah,
we caused it to rain in Phoenix. Anyway, your turn.
No, but the thing I always tell people about Pocono is, and it's weird with all the tracks. Like, we're all, as far like the social media world goes, like, we're all connected, social media wise. We're all in the same business, right? But the cool thing about Pocono is, we are family owned and family operated still. The Mattioli family. Doc Mattioli and Dr. Rose Mattioli, who founded the track, it's still run by the family. Our CEO, Nick Igdalski, is the grandson there. We have Louis Mattioli and Michelle Mattioli Kulik, and they're still a very big part of the racetrack, and you see it when you come up here. You see the family atmosphere, and that's kind of what we try to bring to everybody, and that's what I tell people, man. It really does. And even when I was coming up here just as a fan, it was a different feeling than other racetracks. You kind of felt like you were welcome, and that's just kind of what we tell people.
Sherman, truth time. I didn't know that.
That's where I was fixing to head.
Yeah.
So what I was going to say is, one of the things that's so intriguing about Pocono, throw out the fact that it is the most unique layout of any, like, quote-unquote oval-style track there is.
Very angular oval.
Yeah. Is the fact that it's outside the province of the two major publicly held companies that own tracks in NASCAR. Like, Pocono gets to make a lot of its own decisions, and as long as they're making enough money to keep the track alive, the Mattiolis and Igdalski can keep doing whatever it is they want to do. And that to me, as we've gotten almost 150 episodes into this podcast, we're approaching our 3-year anniversary. That's the thing, is it intrigues me almost as much as the shape of the track and how much I love the racing there, is the fact that, y'all are a lone wolf. And there is something extremely intriguing about a lone wolf.
Absolutely. So what kind of things on race day might you expect that's a little different from, the ISC or the Bruton Smith tracks, SMI? What kind of things are unique around the track on race day?
So, we still got the same kind of setup outside the track as any other track. We have our fanfare area where we have, like, the different displays and everything like that. This year we're bringing a new fan welcome center, which is actually gonna be pretty cool. Where we're gonna have different tables set up at this booth, right? Where if you're a new fan, there's gonna be something for you to kind of sign up and get a cool promo item for that. If you're if you're a child, we're gonna have a child section where we're gonna have, like, coloring books and stuff like that.
I'm a child.
International
Can I have a
fans, college fans. What's that?
I want a coloring book.
We want coloring books.
Yep, I'm a child. I want a coloring book.
If you guys come up, we'll get you to sit down there, color a nice little race car, and have a good time. But that's a cool little tent that we're introducing this year, where we kind of have something for every type of fan that we can really think of, and that's something cool that we offer. And the cool thing about Pocono is we're continuing to add things. We're continuing to do different things. We just put in a playground, which is all inclusive. So any kids with any kind of needs, actually this playground caters to them. We just brought in sensory rooms, so anybody with kind of sensory overload problems or anything like that, or needs, will be able to kind of have a safe place to kind of cope with what's going on. So we're always adding things, and we're always putting new things in every single year.
That's awesome. We just got in our chat wall here on the YouTube, somebody said that you guys are really family oriented, and obviously one of the ways that you can drive interest through youth is for families to want to bring their children to the racetrack.
Yeah. There's plenty where, Sherwin, we just did the Talladega infield, and that is a top 5 experience in NASCAR, but leave the kids at home,
right?
If you're doing that,
no doubt. To revisit that, I would have a hard time saying that wasn't one of my best experiences for the weekend. Throw it, and it's one of those things where we've talked about in the past, and I'm sure you've heard many a detractor, Kevin, say, well, Pocono's this, or it's too long, it's too this, it's too that. It's too, people just want to have something to maybe complain about because that's just kind of the way human beings are. But, boy, being at a racetrack lets you really almost ignore what the on-track experience is. If you have such a good experience being at the racetrack, it doesn't matter if you see, Casey passed Jeff Gordon on the outside of turn 2 to win the race. That's near and dear to our heart.
That matters a little bit.
That
to
was
me.
that was a hell of a moment for Pocono, though. Just like Jeremy Mayfield pulling up to Dale Earnhardt Sr. in turn 3, giving him a little bump and winning the race. Like Pocono's had its moments, but it's also had the same moments that every other track's had, where you're like, meh. So I mean, if you can go to the track and have an awesome experience, it kind of will preclude what your
and my
what the on-track experience is. So.
And my point with that was totally backing you up, Sherwin, in that some of these tracks you need for the fans, some of them you need for the new fans, and the fact that there's a lot of family-oriented stuff, that's cool. And not only that, but to get that same confirmation from the folks on the wall who are talking about, Pocono is where you bring the new people. So I want to be new people, and I want my damn coloring book.
That's right.
We might have to send you a self-address stamped envelope, and you send me a damn coloring book, and I will post.
I trace the lines and then I color.
Do you?
How do you do it?
I put a big number 3 on the side of every car, and then color, randomly.
Okay.
I'll get you guys hooked up. We have good friends with Crayola, who's just down in Easton, PA, from us. So we'll hook you guys up with some cool coloring materials for
My
sure.
man,
sweet.
But yeah, like you guys were mentioning though, with the different tracks and the different racing, like that's the cool thing about NASCAR that I want to kind of mention is like. Every race is different, man. You look. I've been watching the sport since 2001 when I was 9 years old. Okay, and every single race is different. Sometimes you're gonna get a good race at Pocono. Sometimes it's gonna be more strung out. Last June we had the closest finish in Pocono history with Ryan Blaney and Kevin Harvick. But it's the same thing at any other track on the circuit. Some days you're gonna get this amazing race, which is great. I'm not. Like Jeff Gluck runs that poll where was the race good today? And if you look at the list of tracks, there's no rhyme or reason. It's just racing is such a sport where you never know what you're going to get. It might be this weekend might be the worst race ever, or it might be the best race ever that we've ever seen in the world. So. To people that say that Pocono's always boring or stuff like that, because we see it all the time. I say, look at last June, or look at the Jeremy Mayfield finish, or stuff like that. You never know what you're going to get, and that's the reason you need to come out to the race to see it.
That's what I'm talking about 100%. Right there, dude. And I totally support that. Now, having been in the Talladega infield, which is a race that I have infamously boycotted watching for years now, and to go there and have such an experience, it's all about that experience. And that has changed my mind on just about every track at this point. Like, if I do like this or don't like this, hell, let's go to the track and see what they got. And if they fulfill that there, the race is
it's almost
it makes
secondary.
The race, but it makes it so much better too. Like I enjoyed that.
Yeah, it's supplemental.
Yeah, that's what it is. Well, so no, go ahead, Sherwin. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. I'm jumpy. No, I wanted to say
getting all excited.
Appropriately for this conversation. I wore my Wood Brothers hat that I purchased between when the white flag flew and the checker flag flew when Blaney won at Pocono.
Yeah.
And I wore my Mustang shirt because Ford's going to Mustang next year. And so I wanted to be well aligned.
That's so let's just quick shout out. That's where Ford belongs in NASCAR.
Well, they're quitting every car but the Focus, and the Mustang.
Right. So that's I'm.
They have to.
Right, they have to go to the Mustang.
They painted themselves into a box.
Yeah.
At least they never discontinued the Mustang the way the Camaro did.
Well, with that, Sherwin, let's start tearing it down, and let's go straight into our report card. Last week, All-Star race. We've got 5 periods and recess as usual. So here it goes. First period is, this is going to take, for me, For me, social studies was first period, and it was always the one that I just dreaded going to. Not that I'm dreading going to this, but that like I need to spend a lot of brain power on this one, and that is what we just saw.
Memorization power.
Right. What we just saw last week. We saw restrictor plate race. We saw this tall spoiler. We talked about all this last week in terms of what they were coming to the track with and what was going to happen. And Sherwin, I think we had an incredible race. I really, really enjoyed that race a lot. And it sounds like almost the whole NASCAR community has this same perspective that I'm about to say, which is that was amazing. That was awesome. Pump the brakes on talking about this for Cup, for points, for, for the 600, for whatever else at Charlotte. Like, you did a really good job with that, but let's figure that out. So I've been thinking all week, and I'm not sure that I've come up with a conclusion as far as where I think, or if I think they should do anything to the mile-and-a-half races or to the whatever else. What do they do next? I don't even know how to ask this. So let's put it this way: we give grades. Restrictor plate race, the All-Star race. I am given a solid A. Really enjoyed that race. I know I gave it maybe a C, I think, last week in terms of the rules package, but I think they really did come up with something, and the race was great. I really enjoyed watching the race. So let's give Kevin a say on this one. Grade that race and grade what you think ought to happen after that.
So here's the deal. With that package, they're actually that was the Xfinity package from Indy last year, and they're actually running it in our Xfinity race. The same package there. So I'm pretty excited cool. for that. I'll say
I actually didn't know that. That's awesome.
After watching that All-Star race, I was pumped, man. I think that was cool. That's definitely the direction that I would personally like to see it going. It was exciting. It was super exciting. They you never knew what to expect, and it was a lot of fun. So,
Sherwin,
my turn.
Yeah, have at it.
I think
give us a grade too.
I think so. So I'll start off with I'm going to give it a B+.
Okay.
And I mean, if I can separate grades between execution and application, I want to give NASCAR an absolute A for being willing to try something crazy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because we need that. That's our only opportunity to test something that crazy. Now, I remember I said last week it's bad science because they changed so many things. I don't know what they actually learned.
Yeah.
But I'll still give them an A for making all those changes and seeing what might happen. The Open was a way better race than the actual All-Star race. But you had cars that were, arguably, they're not the best cars in the sport, most of them. So it kind of made sense that you'd see that. We've seen that over, probably the last 10 years, the Open be a little bit better race just because, there's 2 or 3 guys at the front.
Yep.
And we're not seeing a guy lead the last entire series or segment or whatever, the stage. The other thing I would say is, to piggyback what Kevin said, is I am super stoked to see that package in the Xfinity series at Pocono.
Yeah.
I'm just not impressed with that kind of race in the Cup Series. We already have 4 restrictor plate races that you and I have ceremoniously said that, if I missed the spring Talladega race, if I missed the Firecracker 400, I don't know if I care too much.
To me, this felt like a different kind of restrictor plate race, though. It didn't feel like a pack of cars going around in circles. This felt like actual racing.
Well, it looked like Daytona before they paved it.
Possibly. Well, that was only 3 or 4 years ago, right?
No, it was like 10 years ago.
Jesus, I'm old.
Yeah, it happens.
Sorry.
Happens. But, so I listened to, as I've said ad nauseum, I listened to everything. Everything that's out there that's available, I listen to. There hasn't been one driver yet that didn't say, All-Star race was pretty cool. We cannot do this at every mile and a half.
Yeah,
there's been
some
of them that said we should only try things like this at the All-Star race. There's been others that said maybe we could take a look at the tracks that have 2 races and have 1 race with open rules and 1 race with restrictor plates. And just to have the race play out differently. Those restrictor plate rules would have to come earlier in the year, not during the playoffs. Otherwise, you got. I mean, look. The bottom line is Talladega is only special because there's only 2 of them, and they're 6 months apart. Like,
yeah.
I mean, like we can't do that every time we go to a mile and a half.
So
it's like maybe Kentucky gets a restrictor plate race in the spring/summer, and then gets an open race in the fall.
Right. So that brings us to one of our the PTM Posse questions. By the way, Daytona repaved in 2010. So it wasn't 10 years ago. It was 8 years ago, but I was still off by a factor of 2 when I said 3 to 4 years.
Right. It's not a contest, but I was
minimum,
closer than you.
Yes, exactly. It's not a contest, but you won. You know what I'm saying? Andrew Cancian asks, what is a good balance for that restrictor plate intermediate package and the current package? And he even said tracks with 2 dates split the package as a possible solution. So, make it restrictor 1 and not restrictor the other. That's pretty. I like that idea actually. And should that make it acceptable for tracks and NASCAR to run this package in the playoffs? That's a big question. Playoffs? We talking about playoffs? So, Kevin, I know that was a lot, but what do you think about? We'll say number 1, tracks. Splitting the dates and saying restrictor plate on one of them, not on the other, and then secondly, playoffs.
I'll tell you what. Here's I think whatever the fact that NASCAR's trying to do something and the fact that we're trying to make the racing better, but it's so weird. So to some people the racing might be fine, right? But to other people they want more. They want something different, right? So there's got to be some kind of good mix. I agree with there needs to be a good mix because everybody's going to like something different. Like we said, we're having this debate right now. Some people like it, some people don't. Mm-hmm. But I think the thing I saw on Twitter the most was with this package and what they tried during the All-Star race. It was the most unified I've seen Twitter after a big change in a very long time. I mean, at least since I've been kind of on the Twitter game with Pocono, is the fans, industry alike. Everybody was happy that we tried something new, and it went decently. So I think we continue to try these new things and see where it goes. So, I mean, whatever works best for everybody, and if we can just get everybody on the same page as best as we can, shoot, let's try it.
So Mick Rose in the comments just now said, I have enjoyed the racing so far this season, and I think that is almost an understatement, Sherwin. That comment just made me think over the last 10, 12, or however many we've had. I've enjoyed this season maybe more than I've enjoyed a season in a long time. And we've had pretty big domination by a couple folks, and I've still enjoyed it that much. Maybe it's
8 of 12 by 2 guys, right?
Or
I guess 7 of 12.
Yeah, 7 of 12 by 2 guys. And that may also be a... Is it 8?
3 and 5. Yeah.
3 and 5. It may be a function of we've been to so many races now, and that plays into it. But I totally agree, Mick. I've really enjoyed the racing this so far, and I'll go as far as to say I've enjoyed it more than I can recall enjoying it the last few years, Sherwin.
Well, I think so. You and I both doing this and all the other different ways that we engage with NASCAR have totally improved the overall content that we get to consume over the course of a race weekend. And this is what I encourage everyone to do. And I'm not saying everybody, look, you don't have to start your own podcast to enjoy racing. But what you might want to do is consider taking in multiple inputs. So whether it's your phone, your tablet, or your laptop, or whatever it is you're doing, maybe you don't focus on what's happening on your television. Set you up this is my race day list of Twitter people I want to hang out with. And you set up I got a race day list. And you put 25 or 50 people in there or however many people you follow.
Be sure to put Kevin Teal on
Be sure to
Pocono
put
Raceway.
Kevin Teal. Be sure to put PTM Podcast in there. Because, I'm raising hell on race day on the Twitter.
Yeah, or maybe not put PTM Podcast.
Maybe you don't. Maybe you might end up blocking me. Or us, I should say. But, learn how to engage multiple inputs. So I know this is tough, and this is not meant to belittle anybody that's older than we are, but learn how to be a millennial in some respects and take multiple inputs at a time and not just what the TV says. So, like, okay, if you're the guy that's like, man, I wish DW had quit because Jeff Gordon's better, or I wish this guy would quit talking because I think
one of those is an opinion and one of those is an absolute fact.
Well, so exactly. So, I mean, you watch the race the way Rusty and I used to watch this thing. Now, I don't know how he watches now because we haven't watched the race yet this year together, except for when we were at the race.
I usually do it naked and drunk.
Turn the TV way down.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you said naked.
Oh, I'm just
I
trying to
say anything about clothes.
I'm just trying to throw you off while you're on your rant.
That's good.
And
I'm good.
It's working.
You're not. I'm just
He's
letting
on a
that slide
roll.
in.
Germans bombing Pearl Harbor.
So,
it's going.
I mean,
he's rolling.
Pay the $25 a year to get the audio for the scanner, and dial that thing up. Listen to that thing loud as you want. Listen to MRN, PRN, whoever's doing the broadcast. Listen to the competition director channel. Or, if you have a favorite driver, listen to his channel. Listen to what those guys are talking about. And then, like, if you want to hear what's happening on TV, you go turn that up for a minute and go, oh, wonder what they're saying. Or you run it back because you get the DVR or whatever. And during the commercial, you can catch up in no time. Use multiple inputs to enjoy the race. Because if all you do is watch the television, you're going to be frustrated about 4
Well, especially with commercials.
10 races.
Yeah.
Because there's so many commercials, you're going to be pissed off anyway.
Yeah. And the clothes just have to come off at that point.
Well,
got to be
Rusty's
naked.
sticking with a theme here, which is fine.
Sorry. That's the
like
last
I got
one.
the orange cone across from me over here.
Right.
Trying to talk dirty.
Oh, Utah standoff going on. What the hell? No, we'll abandon that. We'll go straight. Thank you, Sherwin, for that.
Did I finish that statement?
Did
I think
you?
I did.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Mick Rose, who we just talked about, at GoDucks42_Mick, he says, is the restrictor plate more or less gimmicky than the PJ1 traction compound? We'll give it to Kevin because we've been on soapboxes for a while.
Buggers.
Yo, man, you guys just keep digging your grave. I don't know if I can. I just got done saying Pocono Raceway is family oriented, and I don't know if I could trust you coming up here now. I don't know how you watch your races.
We bring rain and we bring hell, and
golly. What was the question? PJ1 more
PJ1
gimmicky
versus
than the
restrictor plate. Which one is more gimmicky? I guess is the Hey, I'm just reading questions. This isn't my thing. But I will answer them. I will give opinions.
My opinion on that is I'm just happy that, and I love that NASCAR just continues to try new things, man. And they're not afraid to say. I think right now is if they try something and it doesn't work, they'll say it. You keep trying new things because going back to how you watch a race too, everything's changing now. People's attention spans for whatever reason, whether it be the technology at our hands, or whatever is, it's a common fact with sports in general is that, people's attention spans are changing and people kind of consume their sports in a different way now than ever. So it's, you got to keep evolving, and that's just not NASCAR. It's all sports. All sports are changing the rules to kind of make, the game a little bit more different and exciting and engaging. So it's sports is an ongoing changing thing, and as long as we keep making changes to make the fans happy, I support whatever works.
I think it's a good stance.
I totally agree with everything you said, and I also, if somebody asks me a question, this or that, I want to give an opinionated answer that people can possibly disagree with because I just like being that way. So I'm going to say that restrictor plate is more gimmicky, and only because that's like kind of throwing darts at the board here versus the PJ1 thing was like, hey, we need to make another groove at some of these racetracks, specifically Bristol. So let's put that down instead of having to like reconfigure the track or something. Versus let's just, like you said, Sherwin, throw 10 things at the wall and see what sticks at the restrictor plate thing. I'm not saying either one is bad, but the PJ1 thing, I'm cool with running in the Cup. Versus I'm not sure I'm there yet on the restrictor plate.
Okay, so not
here goes nothing.
Yeah. Not to just take us down a road that nobody's ever been down before, but I think, so from my perspective, I definitely think plates are a bigger gimmick than PJ1. one thing we have to constantly remind ourselves is the Cup cars are actually running plates all the time now. They're running a tapered spacer that restricts airflow. Until we figure out a threshold of where we can get to a smaller motor and run it unrestricted, I think it makes more sense than anything else in the world besides the engine builders' money and R&D costs to get to a 5.0 motor, especially now that we've gone to Camaro and we're going to Mustang.
Mm-hmm.
You can't even get a V8 in a Camry.
Camaro,
so they obviously
Mustang,
don't give a damn.
Camry.
Right. And I mean now Mustang,
they're good. I mean,
Mustang's top end of the line is a blown 5.2. They've actually started to creep back up.
Yeah.
So I don't know where we go with that. I think the 5-liter motor seemed like always the right place to land. Like, we already run a restrictor plate. It just doesn't look like it on the tracks where we don't run what we announce as a restrictor plate.
Sure.
So I mean, we got to reconcile that somehow. Like, I want an unrestricted motor.
We want Aero to be...
And I want Aero to go away.
Yeah.
Everybody wants the splitter to go away.
And that's what I think that's what I really liked about this race. We were at a 1.5 mile track, and the leader did not check out.
Well, he didn't check out, but, I mean, they ran 40 mile an hour slower than they're going to run tomorrow night or Sunday night.
So fine. And everybody loved the race. Nobody bitched about the fact... I didn't
bitch about it because it was an all-star race where it's supposed to be gimmicky.
But nobody bitched about the fact they were going 40 miles an hour less.
You want to see 600 miles of that?
I'm not sure.
Sunday night?
No,
because it won't be over till 1:30 in the morning, even if it doesn't rain.
I'll stay up till damn 1:30 in the morning.
I'm good at staying up. I'm just saying it'll be a 6.5 hour race.
Yeah,
and next thing you know, they're going to shorten it.
Let's move on. I love this. I love this.
I want to say one thing though to that. Did anybody notice? That's crazy that you say that because I didn't notice that they were going 40 miles per hour slower. Like it's so funny to people don't want to slow down the cars, but I didn't notice a thing watching it on TV.
I've said that for a while that I don't care what speed they're running as long as it's more than some threshold. I'm not going to make up one right here.
Until we start talking about what is the coolest thing about like NASCAR qualifying is somebody trying to rip off that track record speed.
Yeah.
And we're not going to see that stuff anymore, not with the way they're doing things.
Sure.
So maybe I should just throw that in the waste bin and start over because maybe it's me that's got the problem.
So let's move on. Second period, and we'll move through the periods a lot quicker at this point. Daniel Suarez races his way into the All-Star race and then takes second in the main event. Let's rate two things. One, his performance, and then second, his chances of repeating that success on Sunday. Let's give that over to Kevin.
Yeah, man. Suarez, he's coming on. He's kind of had a slower year, I'd say. I think the Toyotas in general have had a slower start to the year, except for like the Kyle Busch and whatever. But Suarez, I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a win here one of these days. I really don't. He's a very talented driver, and I think last year he was learning a lot, and with the All-Star race, he proved it that. Given the right circumstances, he can run up front, man. He's in a Joe Gibbs Racing car, so he's got the equipment. It's just a matter of getting that experience. And the Coke 600, you see different winners all the time. You see different fuel strategies play out. So yeah, I think Suarez could definitely pull off the kind of upset win, I guess you would say.
I think he deserves an A+ for everything he did this past weekend. That performance, starting with getting in the main event, and then the performance that he had, I think that's A+ as A+ gets. His chances of repeating the success on Sunday, it's such a different race with no restrictor plate and a whole different sort of thing. So I'm going to give that a B-. Sherwin?
Well, so I mean, Suarez is definitely starting to prove his mettle. For sure. He could drive a race car. Joe Gibbs is really starting to separate themselves from the pack as being really good at 1.5 miles. Outside of, the races they haven't won when Kevin Harvick wins.
Yeah.
I was watching qualifying today, and Suarez had a great run towards the end. I'm not sure where he ended up, but he qualified well. He's actually driving the green not double mint, but interstate batteries. So it looks like you look like you're seeing Kyle Busch, and it's like, oh, that's not Kyle Busch though.
Yeah. And Kyle Busch gets a pole. So, holy crap.
Yeah, Joe Gibbs really separated themselves from the pack. I think if we're looking at the guys that we talk about that we think are going to win a race, like the Chases, and Blaney's already won one, obviously, and Suarez and Eric Jones, I would say Suarez is definitely outperforming those guys.
Something that you and Kevin have both just said is the word Joe Gibbs, which I have to keep reminding myself when we're talking about Daniel Suarez. And, hey, this is Joe Gibbs. This is for real. This is the guy. This is Coach. So that's a big key that I forget sometimes when I'm watching him run around the track and thinking about, young guns and who's where and whatnot. But y'all both said it, and that even solidifies more his potential for success there. So let's move on to third period. We're talking Hall of Fame right here. 2019 inductees announced: Jeff Gordon, Jack Roush, Roger Penske, Davey Allison, and Alan Kulwicki. Kevin, walk us through. And if you're not on the YouTube, y'all need to at least go look at this. This is 45 minutes and 21 seconds in. Look at it, and Kevin, walk us through what you got behind you. This is the coolest thing I think that any guest has brought to the table so far.
So I was thinking about what I would kind of sit. I'm in our content office, me and JJ's office right here, and we have some cool things in the office. So I have a first of all, Roger Penske kind of retro jacket
old
here.
School. Hell yeah!
Fun fact about this jacket: we actually tweeted this out to Ryan Blaney, and he slid into our DMs and was like, "How do I get that jacket?" So we're actually gonna give this to him in a fun way on our June race weekend here. So awesome. We have that for Roger Penske.
And you've got the jacket that you're about to give to Ryan Blaney. That is super duper cool. And you heard it right here on PTM Podcast.
Heard it first, right here.
Ryan, this is your jacket, and we're going to have some fun. We told him, we said, we're going to have some fun with you to get it to you. So we got something in the works here for that.
That is awesome. I love it.
I got a little Alan Kulwicki car here.
That's super neat.
Shout out to him.
That number 7.
I got this Jeff Gordon pennant. I mentioned earlier that Jeff Gordon kind of got me into the sport, man. He was my first favorite driver when I started going to races at Dover, and kind of connected to him. And so I have that from back in the day, and then we obviously have a Davey Allison cutout here, and little Roush Fenway koozie up there.
If you don't see it, right on Davey Allison's left shoulder, our right, is the Roush.
Oh, it's their Twitter avatar.
Yeah.
And the guy that runs that, whoever they hired to do that, he's funny.
So give us a grade on this Hall of Fame inductee list, Kevin.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry I haven't graded stuff. I kind of just gave my opinion the past couple times.
Like we said, the grades don't matter here.
Man, I'm gonna give it an A. I think everybody I mean, first of all the nominees that are on that list they're all gonna get in there. So they all get an A for what they've done in the sport. But I personally was happy to see Jeff Gordon get in on his first round in it, just because of the influence he's played on me personally. Kind of getting me interested in the sport and got me, really, I wouldn't be sitting here right now if I didn't go to that race and find my favorite driver and all that stuff. So, and obviously Davey Allison, with all that he accomplished in that short amount of time, it was amazing, and we would have all, loved to see what he did more if he would have had more time. Alan Kulwicki, the same thing with Alan Kulwicki, and then obviously Roger Penske and Jack Roush for what they've done in the sport. Penske and motorsports as a whole, really, and Jack Roush has been a fixture in it as well. So I give it an A. I'm glad to see all those guys get in. It's gonna be really cool.
Sherwin.
Yeah. Well, so one of the first things I thought of is things that happen outside of our realm, either even lifetime or just our perspective. I thought it was super cool that we got Davey and Alan in, because I think that needed to happen, because their career projections were far beyond, and their contributions to the sport were far beyond what their actual accomplishments were before they were killed, unfortunately, in aerospace incidents. It made me think about Roberto Clemente. It made me think about the day the music died, Big Bopper, Buddy Holly, and
Richie Valens.
Richie Valens.
Yeah.
It made me think about Lynn Bias and then what those people could have been to their respective disciplines. And so I'm glad NASCAR was able to figure out a way to recognize these people. Allen should have been anyway because he won a championship the hardest way possible.
Sure. Payne Stewart, by the way.
Absolutely.
Thinking about people,
yes, thank you.
You know?
Payne Stewart.
Although he did accomplish quite a lot.
He did win an Open. He's kind of like he would probably be like Colwicky in that respect. That he did win a major. He was present. He was always at the top of the list when he was playing. I'm glad that we operate in a sport where they're willing to recognize people for things that they did that were not just that don't just show up on racingreference.com. Yeah.
So my thought is I'm going to give this one. Here's the thing.
I didn't grade it though, so
okay.
A+.
Yeah, there you go. I'm torn. Like, these names are obviously A+ names. I'm going to give NASCAR an A-, and the minus comes from this. I couldn't believe when I saw this list, because I hadn't been keeping up, like, year over year. I thought Colwicky would have been in, like, 5 years ago.
Oh, man.
And so the fact that it was 2019 when Colwicky finally got in, I was like, oh, really? Duh, Alan Colwicky.
26 years after his championship.
Yeah, it makes sense right now that Gordon gets in. It makes some sense to get Roush and Penske in. They could be in now. They could be in a couple of years from now. I'm fine with them getting in now. Davey Allison was one of the first baseball cards that I owned, by the way. And I say baseball, loosely, obviously.
Because that's everything.
But I have a baseball card of Davey Allison in his rookie year of NASCAR. And
1986, I want to say?
Something like that, yeah. Did he only race 6 years? Because he was
he won 19
passed away in 93.
In 7 years.
Yeah. So I've got a thing for I've always loved Davey Allison for that. But Colwicky, the fact that he was not in yet, there's where my minus comes from. But obviously A+ to go ahead and get him in. So there's my grade there. Let's move on to fourth period.
All right.
Let's talk Indy. How about this?
Got some pretty serious stuff that went down.
Serious stuff, and let's talk about it right now. Pippa Mann and James Hinchcliffe failed to make the Indy 500. And let's grade Indy on creating a system where those big names might not make it. And let me draw a parallel here, Sherwin.
Okay.
Which is for the everybody knows that we are fans of soccer, and I'm not going to try to bore you with some soccer stuff, but in the upcoming
World
Cup, I don't know why I couldn't think of that word, because who cares right now?
Because it's in Russia.
Right. The U.S. is not in it. Italy is not in it, and the Netherlands are not in the World Cup. And for me, that's a huge F on FIFA for making a system where 3 huge markets of soccer are not going to be watching it. And for me,
especially not when it's 9 hours at a time or 8 hours or whatever.
For me, I'm going to watch Indy 500 anyway, but the fact that Hinchcliffe is not in it is that's tough for me to. Everything that I'm going to be thinking of will be, well, what if Hinchcliffe was in it? What if Hinchtown was here? And Pippa Mann is just kind of, to me, is more of even what might you call it? Whatever. Somebody who
a distraction piece.
Or somebody who root for
a show woman or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, exactly. So the fact that those folks aren't in it, I got to give like a C- here, and the C- part, the fact that they get that high is, hey, they made a rule, they decided to stick with it. Okay, they're not going to like backdoor them in like NASCAR did in 2014 was it, or 13 with Jeff Gordon getting into the playoffs or whatever. Okay, well they're not going to do that. I'll give them credit for that, but we got to fix this system here.
Whew. Are you throwing that to Kevin or me?
Kevin's grinning ear to ear, so let's give Kevin some time. Go for it, Kevin.
Yeah, man. It's a bummer that Hinch isn't going to be in it. He's been a good friend of ours here because obviously the IndyCars come to Pocono too. He's actually shot his podcast in our infield. We are named our infield after him when he was down here, Hinchtown, USA for a little bit. But so it's a bummer to not see him in it. you know, the rules are the rules. I'm happy they're not going back on it like you guys just said. You know, it's the rule, and if you don't make it in, you don't make it in. So I mean, in that sense, you know, it's good. It's not good, but it's, you know, it's kind of back to you know, that's just the way things go in racing. Is you have to make it in by the rules, and it's unfortunate what happened to his car and everything like that beforehand, that he didn't make it in, like, just on speed or anything like that. But man, I don't know. I don't even know how to grade this, because it's a bummer. But you know, they played by the rules. So if I had to put a grade on it, I'll say, you know, a C as well, because it's a bummer that he's not going to be in it. He's a huge name in the sport right now, very popular with many fans. But I'm glad that they're you know, playing by the rules and keeping to that.
Sherman.
Okay, so to me, this is another two. This is 2 grades.
Okay.
Okay, so grade 1 is integrity of the sport.
Yep.
A.
Yeah, and that's where I went with the C. Like,
you stuck by your guns. You said fastest 33.
Yep.
And Hinch and Pippa did not do that, so they're out. In terms of fan exposure, sponsorship exposure, overall positivity around the field, I'm only going to drop it to a C.
Okay.
I'm not going to give them like a D or an F.
Sure.
Because we got 33 race car drivers out there
Yep.
that are representing the companies that are on their cars and have a chance to win the most important race to them in their life.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, look, we've said many times, I think we've been saying it for 3 years now, or 2.5 years now, that the best race on Sunday of Memorial Day weekend is the one that happens in the middle of the day.
Yep.
And I'm going to be watching every lap of it. And I don't know that I'm going to miss Pippa and James when I'm watching this race.
See, and to me, I just wonder what happens at the compare it to Daytona 500, right? Because that's supposedly our in NASCAR our biggest race. Who is the James Hinchcliffe of NASCAR?
That could potentially miss the race.
That could that is as big a name as James Hinchcliffe is, and to miss the race. Is that a Jimmy Johnson, Kyle Busch, or are we talking about like a who's
God, that's a
is that a
great
Clint
question.
Boyer misses the Daytona 500? Like, it just seems like
I think Boyer's way closer to the mark.
Yeah. So
or a Larson maybe.
Sure. So it's
Something
like,
around
well, maybe they would have won, maybe not. But are you seriously not putting them in it? I just it's weird for me to not have that for a sport. I mean, and let's be real. I mean, it's not like Indy. Well, except for the Indy 500, which they just said has they're going to have like 300,000 people to track for, which is awesome.
Well, it'll be the 3rd year in a row they had 300 plus.
Yeah. So
apparently the snake pit is mother flipping nuts.
And I love that. So for your premier event, I feel like you have to have the premier drivers.
Well, it's a premier event in the world. That's the thing, is this is not a series event. This is not an IndyCar Series event.
Yeah.
They're going to score – the people that are actually running in the IndyCar Series are going to score points for their results in this race. This is not an IndyCar Series event. This is a world event in an IndyCar platform.
I like that.
That's
like
the big difference about the Indy 500.
Yeah. So let's move on to 5th period. Harvick's crew chief ejected for missing pre-qualifying inspection. He's starting 39th on Sunday. We're doing a pass-fail. It's another pass-fail class. I like the pass-fail classes, by the way. And so far, I am 0 for 1.
Pass-failing on NASCAR or the team?
No. Here it is. This is like over-under, right?
Okay.
The pass-fail. So I'm going to say Harvick gets a top 5 on Sunday. Do you pass or fail that statement? Let's start with Kevin.
Holy crap.
Oh, man.
Starting 39th.
First of all, I didn't even hear that news just because like I said earlier in the episode, I worked until 6:30 today, so I haven't even kept up with anything that's went on track today. But you know, and that's happened a couple times before this season with the crew chiefs being ejected. You know, with the way Kevin Harvick's been running, top 5, yeah, pass. He can do it.
Sherman. You want to? Here's the thing. I can read Sherwin. He wants to say pass, or no, he wants to say fail, but he can't justify it. He has no way of justifying why he wants to say fail.
All right, let me justify why I want to say fail.
So here, I'm saying pass, just to get it off.
So I'm bucking the system.
So here we go.
I'm going fail, and here's the reason why. They changed the tire rule, so everybody gets to start on new tires. And as far as I understand, Harvick actually has to start the race with a set of scuffs where everybody else gets stickers.
Interesting. Okay.
Because of this. So there's that weird exchange. Number two is the reason why these guys that go to the back for not and starting on stickers when everybody else had to start on the qualifying is the top 12 cars, or really, no, the top 24 cars made as many as 7 green flagged laps on their tires that they had to start the race on. So I think getting from 39th to 25th or 20th is going to be really easy. Getting from 20th to 10th is going to be way harder, especially at night at Charlotte, where we already seen 2 tires is the play because the surface doesn't eat tires.
I like it.
So I think it's going to be harder for him this time around.
Here we go. Where I love that. I love that we've got the opposite stuff. Here we go. It's time for recess. Ryan Truex. Sure, when you said it, he clearly liked my Jeep color from last week. That deep purple there.
Without a doubt.
Quickly adopted that same color for his Xfinity ride on Saturday.
And it's a fireworks company.
Yeah. So that's the one that as soon as you cross every border in Georgia, where actually you can get mortars in Georgia now, evidently. And so we're starting
a little
to get
more progressive.
Yeah, getting a little bit better on that one. But for a long time, I think it's Phantom Fireworks is what he's got. And they've got that purple scheme. Kevin, have you seen that ride yet?
I have not seen it yet.
So it's as purple as the day is long.
I'm upset because I had my Go Ryan shirt on all day today. Like,
I meant to tell you to wear it.
That's what I wore to work today. Like at work, I was wearing my Go Ryan shirt today, and then
I'll
went out.
I'll be honest, guys. I bought one of those too. I love that shirt.
Hell yeah, that shirt.
We both have the truck one. Like I hadn't upgraded to 11 Xfinity car yet.
Oh yeah, we need one of those too. I'll do a whole wardrobe of crayon.
I'm a sucker for a good NASCAR shirt that's funny like that. I mean that was so creative.
I love it. I love
it too. Yeah.
For recess, I'm giving the old A+. If you're gonna run purple and you're gonna run fireworks, I'm in.
Oh, winner, chicken dinner.
Absolutely, Kevin. You like that scheme or what?
I got to check it out. I haven't seen it yet.
It's a beautiful car.
It's got like a bandit-looking dude on the hood, and it is, purple. What color of purple is that? It's like powder
Here we go.
A little bit deeper than powder purple.
I mean, I'm a dude. I know like 6.
It's not grimace. It's
maybe
not dark
12
like
colors
grimace.
Total, and purple is
purple
what it is.
like JoJo's little circle here on my YouTube thing.
I can dig. So let's get.
I just pulled it up. I dig it. I like it, man.
Right on,
buddy.
Right on.
I've always said. I think. I mean, as much as I've said over and over and over how much I dislike Denny Hamlin, I love purple on a race car. I think purple on a race car is great.
So let's get into our. We have one question left from the posse right here because we've been integrating them into the report card.
That'll happen.
This is an important one, Kevin. This is for you.
Yes, sir.
Our buddies, MOATF, My Opinion and Therefore Fact podcast. They're 2 dudes from the UK, and they are coming to the U.S., and for the first time, they are watching a NASCAR race in the U.S., and they're coming to Pocono is what they decided to do. And they said that'll be their first race weekend in the U.S. It's coming next week. What do you suggest that they do that they can't find out about without some local knowledge? So drop some local knowledge on our buddies from the UK.
David and Andrew.
That's awesome. First of all, let's get them connected with me. So we can talk offline because I'd love to hear about their story. So
hell yeah.
I'll get into what they can do. Are you looking for like what they can do at the racetrack or off the racetrack?
Yes, is the answer to your question.
All the above. I think.
All right.
Yeah.
So here's the cool thing. When I worked in the ticket office, actually, I kind of dealt with our international fans, fans coming from different countries, and I kind of talked to them before they came, and anybody I came in contact with. We actually did this thing for the past couple of years where we kind of traded items. So I invited them to bring something from their country, and we'd give them, something cool, like a program diecast car or something free from Pocono Raceway then. So we have a whole, actually out in our ticket office out here, we have a whole stand of really cool things from all different countries. So we really love and invite people from all different countries to come out to Pocono Raceway. But as far as, so I definitely want to talk to them before they get here. But as far as what they can do when they get here, first of all, I mentioned it earlier, we have our Fan Welcome Center where we have our international section where we're going to actually have kind of our international blogs. We have some blogs on our website from international fans kind of telling their stories so people can read those, check it out, get a cool item there. But, the coolest thing I think about a Pocono Raceway to experience if you're coming for the first time is you need to get, if they're purchasing tickets, get the pit paddock pass to get down on pit road and in the paddock area before the race, just to get down in the action, and kind of check it out. And you can walk around on pit road and all that stuff. And if I don't know if they're into music, but we got a pre-race concert with Steve Moakler that cool. Is going to be pretty cool before the race. And then with that same pass, you stay on the front stretch and get to watch driver intros.
So I've been trying to convince them for several weeks, and they, like I said, they host a podcast. They're totally legit. Like they're way smarter than me and Sherwin are because we just BS about stuff. They actually know NASCAR and they're mm-hmm. way across the pond. Like that takes dedication that I ain't got. But I've been trying to convince them to wear cut off short sleeve shirts, but it's got to be like cut off of the Union Jack of the
their
British flag, and they're like, well, I don't know, man, is that going to be weird or what? I'm like, dude, it's going to be A+. You will fit right in. So convince them that that's the shirt they need to wear.
Yeah, do it, man. Have fun. That's the thing, man. Like, going to a NASCAR race is supposed to be fun. You know what I mean? I think that gets lost sometimes, too, is like, we're in the business of fun. Like, do whatever you want to do. Like, it's to have fun, man. If it means cutting off your sleeves on your shirt and walking around like that, fine. Do whatever you want. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, within reason, obviously. But, we're in the business of fun. Have fun with it.
Hell yeah. So, and these two guys, they in addition to doing their podcast, they're also sort of dedicated to following the NASCAR Euro Tour. And they already flew to Valencia a few weeks ago, Spain, which mm-hmm. I thought was Italy. But turns out it's actually Spain, to sort of cover and had media credentials at a NASCAR Euro Series race there, which, of course, is a road course series. But, they're all in. I'd love to get you all connected and see what they can make of their experience there.
For sure.
Absolutely. So with that, Sherwin, it is time to do some picks. Here's Junior.
Oh.
There he is. You know what? I'm gonna do something old school right here.
Uh-oh.
I'm gonna play our old.
What was our old pick guy?
Version? Here he comes.
Do it again.
Here he comes. And the reason I'm playing that is because that was the best that was the best command that I had ever heard up to that point. And do you remember where that was that he did that?
Must have been
Pocono Raceway, right before the truck race. Kevin, do you remember that? There was a fella, it had to be 2-3 years ago, and I mean he went bananas before the truck race. You might have to listen to the show afterwards, and you might remember him.
Yeah, I didn't hear it there, but I don't remember it off the top of my head, man. That's the thing about working at the racetrack is I never got to hear the opening commands really and all that stuff.
Okay, that was one of the greatest ones. We used it without permission.
That's right. Rusty even tried to get permission.
I did. I emailed somebody at Pocono and somebody else somewhere, and nobody responded. So I'm like, well, I'm just going to use it till they tell me not to. But it's the command to start the race before, I believe, the truck race, and it was probably the best one I'd ever heard.
It was awesome.
Yeah, it was great. So with that, that's our command to do some picks. It's time to do picks for the Coca-Cola 600 coming up. Let's give the floor to Mr. Kevin. What's up?
Man, I think I mentioned it earlier. The Coke 600. We've seen so many different things happen. Fuel strategy I mentioned earlier. You never know with this long of a race. I'm gonna go with somebody that he's won a couple races the past couple years, you probably wouldn't think to pick him. I'm going to go with Ricky Stenhouse Jr.
All right. I like that pick.
Right?
Interesting.
Creative. I'm digging.
Okay.
Sherwin, give us somebody.
Boy, I'm having a hard time staying away from those Gibbs cars.
I don't blame you.
But there's Fords out there that are also looking good.
True.
That manage races very, very well. I'm looking towards Joey Logano picking up win number 2.
Oh, you killed me, man. That was my pick. But I'll let you go first. So give me, you know what? Give me a second here. So we're at Charlotte. We're at the place where, I mean, we've said this like 4 or 5 times on the show that, like, if Chevy doesn't do it here, Chevy ain't going to do it, you know? And I don't think Chevy's going to do it.
They did not do it in qualifying. I promise you that.
I'm picking Kyle Busch, who has the pole, to win this race.
Ric Flair.
I can't do it. Woo, baby. So I can't do it. So yeah, that's where I'll go with that. That brings us mercifully to the closing it out right here. We got Strange with Stang. Ashley J. Stang today asks us, what's the most annoying thing people always are trying to get you to eat? And the answer is just no, but they just won't stop. And she put ... avocado.
That's funny.
I prepared an answer for this. I know we didn't.
Oh, I prepared an answer too,
Kevin.
So we gotta let Kevin marinate on it.
Yeah. So here's the deal, y'all. So right here where I live, where we're at right now in the PTM podcast studio, it's a very diverse community, and I love that about where I live. I wouldn't want to live. Me and Serena have talked about, like, what if we moved? Where would we want to go? And we're like, well, we want to be right around here. Like, maybe we get a house in one of these neighborhoods back here, but we really like where we're at. I love this place. Very diverse in a good way. And so you've got Mexican food, Peruvian food. You've got we go to a Malaysian place. We go to a Thai place. We got Chinese that are all authentic too, like not just the Americanized versions of all that. And I love that, and I celebrate it. But Sherwin, I cannot, for the life of me, eat Indian food. I've tried it so many times, and I can't.
It is so terrible.
And I love the culture, and I love the people, and I work with folks, and I like learn some of their words and stuff so that I can say, hey, how's it going? But boy, I've tried it so many times, and I just can't do it. And when people are like, we're going out to eat Indian, I'm like, man, y'all have fun. I got to have my thing here, and hopefully there's Indians out there who are like, I just can't eat American food, just to like offset me, so that I don't sound like I'm.
Well, they ain't even allowed to eat hamburgers.
Well, I ain't trying to be racist here. I'm just saying that, like, I just can't. I can't do it. So Sherwin, where you at?
That's funny. So I don't know if this is the exact same vein as the way Ashley wanted us to respond to this, but I am sick and flipping tired of people looking at me cross-eyed like I got 3 eyeballs or 1, because I don't want to put 17 gallons of blue cheese dressing on a hot wing before I eat it.
I want all of your 17 gallons and all of my 17 gallons.
I don't want
on it. Oh, give me some blue cheese. Oh,
the hot wing is already dressed.
Ooh, let me take a bath.
It's already dressed.
I love me some blue cheese.
Prepared and ready to eat. It requires no dressing, especially not that nasty ass blue cheese.
I can understand the people who don't like blue cheese. I get it. You know, when you're that unsophisticated. That'll happen.
Jim Utter.
All right, Kevin, we've given you some time. What's your one food that you just can't do it?
Man, So what was the question exactly? Like, what people try to get you to eat?
Yes.
People try to get you to eat, but you're just always like, no.
They just assume you should want to eat it, but you just don't.
Yeah.
So here's the deal. I'm gonna kind of take a swing at this in a different light. I'll pretty much eat anything. I really will. But there's one guy that works at the racetrack. His name's Roger Green, okay? And he brings in some of the weirdest stuff. He lives on a farm, but he pickles the weirdest things. And the other month, he was trying for the life of him to get me to eat this pickled deer heart.
Oh my God!
What in the hell?
So he tried for a little bit of the day, and then eventually I just was like, all right, screw it. And I went down to his office and I ate some, and it was the weirdest texture, weirdest thing I've ever ate, and I couldn't get over the fact that it was a heart.
Yeah,
but
pickled protein is not okay.
The deal but it was good. So,
all right.
Yeah, but he always tries to get you to eat some weird things for sure.
I like pickled stuff generally.
We're gonna talk to Debbie Hines about pickled deer heart.
And strangely, like of the few heart animals that I've had, I like heart. Okay, it's not like liver. Like liver,
I've never had a heart.
Liver takes a little bit weird. Like heart, that's what I use in my giblet gravy when I'm doing Thanksgiving dinner. Heart is really tasty.
Chicken hearts.
Oh, turkey hearts. Yeah.
Oh, like that little bag of crap they give you.
Yeah, the little bag of crap. And I take the liver out and put it aside, but I'll chop up the heart and the kidneys, and that's fine. So,
boy, that sounds morbid as hell. Not that we haven't said morbid as hell.
Yeah, right. What are we doing here? Oh, man. All right. With that, y'all know that's
eat some gizzards.
This thing. Kevin, we thank you so much for being on. Go ahead and close us out, and appreciate you hanging out for this long and being wacky with us.
Yeah, guys. Thanks for having me on for sure. It was a lot of fun.
Tell the folks where they can find you and what you're up to next and what's going on.
So, yeah, real fast, I know we're trying to close things out, but obviously right after the Coke 600, it's race weekend here at Pocono Raceway. So we have a lot of fun things going on. I'll go real fast here. We have Monster Energy Free Friday, which I wanted to mention real fast. You bring a Monster Energy can on Friday to our gates, and you get it for free, which is a really cool deal, all thanks to Monster Energy and NASCAR. So it's a free day. Just bring your Monster Energy can, recycle it at our gates, and get in. Saturday, we have the Xfinity race with the all-new package, so that's going to be great. Tickets start at $25, and kids are free on Friday and Saturday, obviously. And then Sunday's Pocono 400. We're looking to have some very nice weather, we're ready to go, man. We're getting things ready, and it's going to be a fast couple days here at Pocono Raceway, and we hope to see everybody out. And they can hit us up on Twitter, hit us up on Facebook, Instagram. You know how to find us at Pocono Raceway, and we'd love to have everybody out.
Love it. And
hashtag what turn 4?
And hashtag what turn 4. Hashtag Pocono Styles, our new hashtag
Pocono style
that we're kind of throwing out there. How do you do things Pocono style? So
all right,
be sure to use those.
Let me ask you this is the hard-hitting question. Rusty's like, hey, man, would you shut up so we can end this thing?
No, so I can go pee.
Right, yeah, everybody's got to pee. No, so when y'all going to build some bleachers on either the inside and or the outside of turn 2? Because that feels like a really cool place to watch that race from.
So, I mean, we probably need a whole nother podcast here. I could talk
yeah,
talk
you
for
can come
days
back
about
for
different things like that.
You can come back for the August race, and we'll talk about that then.
July race, 29th.
July,
we'll do that. But so we're built on a spinach farm. It originally was a spinach farm. So if you put bleachers outside of turn 2 there, you might be sinking because it's a little different landscape out there. And then on the other side of turn 2 is where our offices are. So it'd be kind of weird to have fans sitting on top of the office buildings, even though maybe one day. You never know.
Okay. Well, we'll keep talking about it. We'll bring it up. We'll have you back on, July 24th? Oh,
yeah, maybe so, unless he's super busy. With that, we want to thank him for being on, Mr. Kevin Teal. Thank you for being here.
We really appreciate it.
And, Sherwin, let's close this thing out. Y'all know where to find us, PTMpodcast.com, at PTM Podcast. And, as always, I'm Tailgate Mayor at Tailgate Mayor.
And I'm Andrew Sherwin at Pregame Engineer and at Andrew L. Sherwin on the Instagrams.
Y'all give us the follows. And, as always, we'll talk to y'all next week. What do we have going on next week, Sherwin?
Next week, what do we have? Oh, we've got Mason Mitchell.
Sweet.
The 2014 ARCA champion.
2014, I'm digging it.
2014 ARCA champion Mason Mitchell. And then be sure to go, if you're listening on iTunes, go give us a rating and a review. We appreciate it. If you want to rate us 1 star and drop our rating down, that's fine too.
Love it. We'll talk to y'all next week. Thank you for joining. Woo! There it is.
Cool.
All right. The podcast part is over. The YouTube is still live. Thank you, YouTubers, for joining in and hanging out with us. Let's see.
My computer died. Like 20 minutes ago.
Oh, really? Well, that happened. Sherwin, I was not lying. I actually, whoa.
Do you have to pee a lot?
I do have to pee
I
quite
have to pee a lot
bit.
Too, so you go ahead.
All right.
What is the process?
I'll be right back.
So, all right. Kevin, you're certainly welcome to go at any point in time. We always like to do a recap that's not going to end up on the audio, just to say, hey, we really appreciate you doing this. It was a lot of fun. We'd love to have fun with this show, and we hope you had a good time too.
Yeah, man, it was a lot of fun. I mean, I'll stick around if you guys want me to. I'm not going anywhere. I'm sitting in the office at 10:30 at night on a Thursday, so I'm already here. So might as well
ahead
keep
of a
staying,
long
right?
weekend too.
What's that?
I said ahead of a long weekend at that.
That's for sure, man. It's that time where it's like I mentioned it earlier. It's like I almost hate that this is like the best weekend in motorsports with all the racing going on, because I'm locked and loaded, and we got stuff to do this weekend. I'm gonna be probably here for most of the weekend working a little bit.
Yeah, I'm not surprised by that. We actually had a little bit of trouble trying to get your counterpart at Talladega on. We had to wait till after the race was done because he had so much stuff going on. So we get it, and it's tough. That's why I was like, oh man, when you responded, I was like, why don't we do it like the weekend before it's actually your weekend, so maybe you actually have some free time.
Yeah, Thursday of race weekends it would be a lot more crazier than it is right now, you know.
Yeah, because, I mean, y'all are running Xfinity and Cup, so Xfinity guys would have been showing up. So we talked about, having Ross Chastain on. Mm-hmm. And I was like, well, what about, Thursday the 31st? And he's like, I'm actually flying to Pocono that night. Yep. He said, but what about, Friday afternoon or evening when we're not racing, we're not practicing? Can we do something then? We're like, all right, how do we figure that out? To where we like have them call in and we do a drop in like the next week and say, we had Ross Chastain on, blah blah blah. He's coming off a hell of a qualifying effort at Charlotte tonight, the best he's ever qualified.
Where's he at? Do you know?
25th.
Oh, cool. Okay.
For
him.
So yeah, we're learning along the way that it's a challenge to work schedules, and sometimes it makes sense, sometimes it doesn't. So. We can't thank you enough for giving us your time, because this is one of the unique things we think we can bring to our audience, being the small fan-based podcast that we are. And we appreciate everyone that's willing to give their time. One of the coolest things about NASCAR is how many of you say yes. And so we appreciate you saying yes.
Yeah, for sure. Sherwin, I've heard that the human bladder can hold around 1 cup.
A cup?
A cup, I've heard before.
That's only 8 ounces, right?
I could have filled up 2 mayonnaise jars just now.
Yeah, it's way more than a cup. I've filled up a 20-ounce bottle and going, what's next?
Yeah, where are we going? I got to pinch this off, and I ain't happy about that.
That's probably when you're supposed to go pee, so you don't tear,
so you don't mess something up. Yeah. So I've screwed myself for later on. Well, thank you all on the YouTube for joining us. And we'll talk to y'all next week as always, and we're going to kill the stream right there. See y'all later.